Welcome into the Pride of Detroit POD your home for all your latest Detroit Lions news, updates, analysis, and so much more. I'm your host, Meko. You can find me over on Twitter at the Meko Scott. Today, we are going to be recapping the Lions' most recent loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, where the Lions lost 30-17. But before we get into that, let me introduce my two amazing co-hosts. First and foremost, we have your senior editor over at prideofdetroit.com, Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, how we feeling, my guy?
Feeling great, Miko, in the eternal words of the immortal Norm Macdonald. October.
I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm gonna just pass it over to our chief and editor over at or editor in chief over at PrideDetroit.com, Jeremy Reisman at Detroit Online. Jeremy, I heard you have some feelings, so hopefully we
Ma-
get to work through a lot of them today.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. No.
Oh,
More movie quotes. I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
let's shout out people who have seen Network, a 70-year-old movie.
you are such an old man trapped in a slightly younger man's body.
Oh man.
But this is bound to go off the rails in the first 2 minutes. I mean, I think we're all just trying to avoid talking about the game.
Well, I think there's one thing that we're all trying to avoid talking about, which we are going to talk about in the second half of this podcast. So if you tuned in specifically to hear us talk about Brian Branch, we're going to get to that in segment two. So sit tight. We're going to get to it. We're going to talk about everything that happened at the end of the game and the punishment that was handed down and our just initial reaction to that. But guys, before we get into that, we have to talk about the actual game because maybe if the game wasn't played the way it was played, maybe Brian Branch has a different reaction and response after the game. Jeremy, just first and foremost, let's just kick it off. What were your initial thoughts and takeaways from this game with the Lions suffering their second loss of the season?
Well, it wasn't quite the punch in the mouth that the Packers game was because I think the Lions were pretty competitive in this game. In fact, I thought they were kind of in control of it in the second quarter before the Amon-Ra drop that I don't want to overly harp on, but certainly felt like a turning point in the game. But even after that, and after making a couple more mistakes in the game, it was a 3-point game at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they just didn't show up the rest of the game. So, I think there were a group of people that maybe, and not within the Lions organization, that didn't respect Kansas City, that thought the dynasty was over and all this, but they had been playing pretty good football the last few weeks here, and yes, they lost to Jacksonville the week before, but the offense was starting to figure some things out. I don't think the Lions necessarily had the right game plan to stop their offense this week, but they stayed competitive. They had good drives on both sides of the ball. It just wasn't enough on a tough night where they just didn't play their best football, and so I don't want to. I feel like after every week we have to come to these big sweeping conclusions about the team or talk about what it means for their playoff chances or anything like that. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think this game changed my feeling about the team at all. 0%. Would I have liked them to be 5-1 instead of 4-2? Of course. Do I think that means they're on the verge of potentially missing the playoffs? No. Do I think they're still a Super Bowl contender? Yes. So tough night. Move on. We'll be okay.
Brian, I think that's a similar feeling that I kind of have coming out of this game where it's I wanted to have a bigger emotional reaction to it, and it was kind of just all right, this is fine. And not in the sense of everything's on fire. This is fine. It was legitimately okay, they just didn't execute well. Nothing looked objectively terrible, but it's collectively you're just I wish they had that playback. I wish they had that playback. What were some of your takeaways kind of from this game?
Yeah, I think I'll forever remember this game as the uncharacteristic game. I feel like I've seen that adjective used 1,000 times since 12 o'clock last night, or this morning, I should say. But it really was it just reeked of uncharacteristicness. And now I'm with Jeremy in the sense that you get to the end of each of these games, and this is game six for crying out loud, and you feel like you need to have some big sweeping conclusion, this is the direction the team is headed now, or this is the direction the team is headed now. And it's almost like you want to think it's these big turns, you're almost going north, east, or west. You know what I mean? And it's really just You're just navigating waters, and you're just going to keep swimming. And that's not a pun intended for the fact that the Lions are playing the Bucks on Monday. But my thought process in the immediate aftermath of the game, like I'll say that in watching the game as it was falling apart, it felt similar to the game against the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Like it felt like the wheels were coming off and there wasn't anything that the Lions really could do to stop it because the other team, and I know Jeremy might hate this, but like the Chiefs offense just had momentum. Like it had like that touchdown they score at the end of the first half, that just like catapulted them. And I felt like they got a lot of steam and they had a lot of juice going into the second half where they were getting the ball, to start the half. And I think that they carried that the rest of the game. And the big takeaways again, uncharacteristic. Like it's uncharacteristic of Amon-Ra St. Brown to drop a pass. I feel like we've seen enough play calling from John Morton and we've been impressed with it enough that the one play call he makes that I really, have a tough time understanding is the 4th and 1, the illegal motion penalty. And it's not even the fact that it was a penalty, it was the fact that you had David Montgomery throwing the football to Jared Goff, who gets paid to be a quarterback and he doesn't get paid to be a wide receiver. And I think maybe some of that is a little bit maybe informed by the fact that that play actually happened the way that it did and it looked like a comedy of errors and then ended up a touchdown. And it was like, okay, well, all right. Well, like you get a pass, John Morton. Like it's okay. It worked out in the end. And then New York makes a phone call. And maybe
Allegedly.
that informs, yeah, it informs some of the frustration. But I think at the end of the day, like that's uncharacteristic of him. Like I've never seen like a head scratching play call where I'm just like, well, why would you do that? Not in the sense that like it didn't work. Like it worked until it didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like even in the moment, I was like, what a dumb play. Like I stood up and I was like, what a dumb play to call. Like that's just like the definition of like, all right, you're at the crap table and you're like snake eyes. And it just comes up snake eyes. Like, I don't know. It's
It
it was a game, Miko, that really did just reek of like this isn't the Lions team that I've seen for the past month, and I don't feel any sort of familiarity with the feeling I have on the other side of it, like I did in the Green Bay game. Like if you
that's
could put a
fair.
number on the Green Bay game, Miko, what would you like your panic level at that time? What would you say it was between like 1 to 5?
It was probably like a that's man, 1 to 5 is tough. I'd probably say it was probably like a 4. Like I wasn't like
Maybe
full
like a
on
light
like
four. Yeah.
yeah, like it wasn't full blown like oh this is the end, but it was definitely like one of those things where you walked away from that game like this offensive line is going to be like in big trouble if this is what it's going to look like for the rest of the season. To your point and to Jeremy's point as well, like I think you walk away from this game, you're just like, yeah, that's not going to happen too many more times this year. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown isn't going to drop like a gift like that on 4th down if he's given that opportunity again. Um, Even with the offensive line, like not everybody's Chris Jones, okay? Like not everybody's going to be able to just take apart, your rookie guard and your, first year starter and Christian Mahogany like that, Jeremy. So like I think there was enough there in that game where you're just like, to Ryan's point, like this is just really uncharacteristic of this team. And it's the type of stuff that Dan and his coaching staff in years past have been really good about correcting, in future games.
Yeah. I mean, they haven't lost two in a row since what, 2022? Yeah. So
Coming up on the 3-year anniversary. But
right.
like, don't you think that was maybe the most uncharacteristic thing of the night, Jeremy, was how it ended, right? And kind of
Yeah.
like the fallout from that, and the way that Dan Campbell spoke about what Brian Branch did, and like I think that was maybe the most uncharacteristic thing of the night, where I was like, really got to get a lid on this thing right now.
Yeah. I, I don't want to get too much into the Branch stuff until we talk about it in the next segment, but I thought the Lions, and this wasn't true of everybody. This is maybe just the loudest of the group, which happened to both play safety. I thought both Lions safeties did not handle themselves well after the game. Branch is
You don't
obviously
say.
obviously what Branch did, a little obvious, but I don't like Kirby going out there and like claiming controversy. Like, you lost that game. You didn't stop the Chiefs when you needed to. And you had several opportunities in the second half to get off the field, and you didn't. And so I feel like this team needs to learn how to lose again a little bit. I think you need to learn to be a good loser, and this doesn't mean like you have to shake everybody's hand and have a big smile on your face after you lose. Like you can just walk off the field and be pissed, but it's just I don't know. It's a bad look for a team. I understand you've only lost 4 games in the last 365 days, but what are we doing here? That I'm about to go off on one of the soapboxes. I'm sorry. Like anyone who is claiming controversy for this game, if that makes you feel better about the game, great. There were 4 penalties called in this entire game. Yes, it's odd that the Chiefs never got one, except for an offside, so it ended up being declined. But here's the thing: if they don't decline that, are we even having a conversation here? If they have one penalty,
right? And just for clarity's sake, like 4 penalties accepted. Like the Lions had 6 flags thrown, right? Great. Versus the Chiefs 1 flag. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out the. Yeah, I'm just making that distinction.
Anyone who came out of that game convinced that there was a conspiracy against the Lions already came into the game with that in mind and watched the entire game through that prism, because there was nothing odd or extraordinary or weird about that game. Yes, you can point to a million highlights and say that guy was holding, that wasn't really pass interference, that was pass interference, this guy may have been lined off a foot offsides. Oh my God, there's another rule that we didn't know about. Congratulations. Welcome to the NFL rulebook. It's very long. It's ridiculous. The Lions got outplayed. Like, there's no doubt. Anyone who actually watched that game can't tell me that the Lions went out there and earned a win and the refs took it away from them. They didn't. They played terribly in the second half. The fourth quarter, they were a no-show after that touchdown. You had an opportunity to get off the field early in that game. Aiden Hutchinson roughs the passer. Anyone actually disagree with that call?
No, that was like a full 2 or 3 steps.
No, it was terrible. It was terrible.
It was definitely a weird play. I'm not saying that it wasn't a penalty, but I'm saying it was a weird play because it was like a pump fake. But I you know what I mean? It didn't look like he was trying to throw that ball. So like it all looked weird, but it was ultimately a penalty for sure.
Yep. That led to a touchdown when the Lions would have had a 3rd and long and could have gotten the ball back down 3 in the 4th quarter. Would have changed the game entirely. After that, Lions offense goes 3 and out. Any complaints about those 3 plays? The officiating in those plays? No? Great. Next time Lions get the ball, they go 4 and out. Like, what are we doing here? The Lions lost that game for themselves. If you want to blame the refs and point to screenshots and whatever, go for it. Like I said, if it makes you feel better and convinced that the Lions can't lose a football game that can only be taken away from them, great. But man, that was I was actually shocked. And there's not a lot that can shock me about fan reaction after a game. But I was shocked that Lions fans were claiming foul after that game because it seemed very clean to me.
I had to double take for a second because when you said you were shocked, I was like, you were shocked that they lost? Like, because to your like, I agree with you. I think specifically from an offensive perspective, like I think I am always like very slow to like go watch like post game press conferences because like I want to have my own thoughts and then like rewatch them to see if like what Dan said after the game or if what the player said after the game aligns with what I initially felt. And when Dan gets up at the podium and he's just like, yeah, we just didn't execute, we didn't do enough, and he specifically highlights like the offense didn't quite show up the way he wanted them to, like it does kind of justify that thought process that I initially have, which is like the defense could only do as much as what they had. And I understand that there was probably this expectation of like, man, if you could just get off the field 1 or 2 more times, like that'd be great. But I think, Ryan, there are way more instances in that game where you're just like, man, if you guys can just kind of sustain a few more drives and actually put up more points, like this is a game, right? Especially after the first scoring drive and like they basically dominate time of possession in the first quarter.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that first drive was representative of the way that the Lions would win that football game. Keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands, end up, bleeding how much time? Almost 10 minutes a clock on that first drive. If they would have scored a touchdown, I don't know, how much different does this game look? And I'm not saying that the penalty shouldn't have been called. It's just, I think the thing that people are noticing is that it kind of funny how it's like a pre-snap penalty that like nothing happens until the field goal unit is out for the extra point. and then we're all holding, and then we're waiting. And then this is the same Chiefs team that had 13 penalties accepted against them a week ago against Jacksonville, and they were one of the most penalized teams in the NFL. Again, I'm not saying that it's right, wrong, or indifferent, but what I am saying is that like I understand that Lions fans jump to that coping mechanism because it's a familiar one. It's one that brings you a lot of comfort. It's a one that definitely feeds into like the Detroit versus everybody narrative, which admittedly, like I'm gonna say, like as I'm watching the game, like I feel like it's bogus, right? I feel like goodness gracious, like I saw this coming from a mile away, right? It's the Chiefs. It's Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico waxing poetically about Patrick Mahomes being the face of the league while there's a Lions defender who's injured on the ground. Um, and I don't know who it is because the camera won't cut back from the broadcast recap. Uh, the but like in totality, the Lions lost the game because they didn't execute the way the Chiefs executed. Like, what was the stat, Jeremy? I don't know if you have it right, if you saw it. I'm sure you did, but like the short passing by Patrick Mahomes in this game
Yeah.
was lights out
Yep.
efficient. Like high completion
Right.
percentage, lots of yards. Like that's the way they attacked the
Yep.
Lions, and it was really smart to do that against a secondary that was
Yes.
banged up and not they weren't up to the task.
Right. No, I'm glad. I do want to talk a little strategy in this game and what the Lions deployed because, like I said, I don't love the defensive strategy that the Lions had, but it almost felt like it was out of necessity because,
Oh, do you want to talk about Chris Collinsworth's favorite talking point, three linebackers, which the
right.
Lions never do. It's only
Yeah.
out of injury
No,
necessity.
no, yeah, that's not obviously that's true. Anyone who's been following the Lions, they've been playing like 70% three linebackers pretty much all season. Now it did get bumped up to 90% in this game. That is quite a bit.
You can feel that.
You can definitely feel that, and that is obviously like you're getting your best 11 out there, right? You don't want Mullet out there because he joined your team on Wednesday. um, but it
was
also
flashbacks too, right?
Right.
Last year and the injuries, it's like it's
Right.
catching up to them again right now.
Yes, right. And we're back to the point where we want to run Aaron's Glenn's defense, but we don't have the horses to do so. We want to play a ton of man where we trust our pass rush to get there in time. We trust our outside corners to hold their own against the receivers, but we can't because we don't have. And so they played a ton of zone in this game, and Patrick Mahomes ate that up. He ate it up every opportunity to get. He made Jack Campbell look like rookie Jack Campbell, and that's not easy to do when Jack Campbell was playing really, really good football, but he dinked and dunked his way down the field. And Ryan, during First Bite, we said the Chiefs do two things really well in the passing game. Really short things and really deep things. And I think the Lions focused on the wrong thing of those two things. I think they thought, hey, let's play too deep. Let's make sure we just don't get beat over the top. If we make the Chiefs earn it by, these 8, 9, 10-yard drives, maybe at some point they make a mistake because the Chiefs were playing some mistake-ridden football earlier in the season. The problem with that strategy is if you're going to do that, which might work, you have to tackle. The Lions did not tackle in this game. And so all the dinking and dunking that should have been 3 or 4 yards were 7 or 8 yards, and the Chiefs were ahead of the sticks all frickin' night to a point where they had drives where they were barely even getting to second down. It was just 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards. And that's how the Lions lost the game on defense.
And again, Meko, totally uncharacteristic of this Lions team. They don't miss tackles. They're very sure tacklers. They're very much of the gang tackling belief. And when you see, I don't think the Chiefs, 12 for 51 for Pacheco, 6 for 23 for Kareem Hunt. Like if you tell me those numbers, Meko, before the game, I'm like, well, the Chiefs were okay at running the football, but Lions should do a decent job. To Jeremy's point, it just opened up a part of the passing game that they took advantage of routinely.
Well, and you also bring up a number like 4 for 10 on third down. You would also think like, oh, the Lions defense was doing pretty well. And it's like to Jeremy's point, no, they were just getting huge chunks of yardage on second down, so they never had to deal with third down on as many situations that they probably would have needed to. And that to me, yes, is kind of like the drawback to the injuries, right? Is that you're being forced to play a style of coverage that you ideally wouldn't want to play, and now you have guys that are operating in space, and now they have to close and tackle instead of just like again probably being in trail technique while they're in man coverage, and they can't make those tackles as well as they normally would. That's that's going to be an interesting thing to see how Kelvin Shepherd kind of adjusts in these next couple of weeks while they're still dealing with these injuries to both Terrion and DJ Reed.
Jeremy, who are the top three guys who lined up at the slot as far as snap counts for the Detroit Lions last night? Do you have any guess?
I mean,
Because it went
you,
17, 13, 12.
I have no idea. I mean,
Two of them are linebackers. One of them's
okay,
Derek Barnes, the other one's Alex Anzalone.
right. Mullet's the third.
Mullet's the fourth. Branch played
Four.
12. And I
Okay.
wonder if that was out of necessity at some point. Like, I'd have
Yeah.
to go back and watch the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
But maybe that was like, okay, we got to cut out like the way that they're treating us, like in
Yeah.
that intermediate range. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's uncharacteristic. I just want to, that's it
Yeah.
for me.
The
Well, it
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Jeremy, it does feel like the Lions kind of in that sense did get a dose of their own medicine. Like you talk about Lions saying on the wrong thing. It's something that the Lions had been doing so far this season with other teams outside of the Green Bay game, which is like forcing you to choose one or two things that you're going to focus on. Then like, okay, cool, we're just gonna get you with the other thing. And in this game, it was the short passing game. The Lions were so worried about having Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster to like have those deeper plays and even Travis Kelce. And they were like, fine, we'll just take that away and make you have to play underneath. And that was the thing that got them killed. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not something that I think a lot of teams would be successful with without the quarterback and the skill players that they had at their disposal.
Yep. It completely affected how they wanted to play that game, and it just their strategy didn't work. It was I don't know. I go back and forth about whether this was actually the right strategy or not, given the horses that they had. But if you're like I said, if you're gonna choose the route of death by a million paper cuts, you better try to mitigate the damage with good tackling, and they didn't. I kind of want to switch over to the offense really quick because I think there are a lot of people that got some knives out for John Morton, and I think Ryan is dead on with the trick play. The other heavy criticism is no running in the second half, right? The Lions ran a total of 4 times for 6 yards in the second half, which is not their ball game. The question though I have is like, when were they supposed to? When were they supposed to run the ball more? Because the opening drive, I believe, of that second half, they ran 3 out of those 4 times. And then the next drive, I think they threw every single time, or maybe there was one run in the middle of it, and they scored a touchdown on it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was when they made it 2017, and
Right.
there was, that took like 4 minutes off the clock. There's still
Yep.
like 11 minutes of game time. It's a ball
Yep.
game again at that moment.
Right. Then the Chiefs go down, they score. Again, now you're down 2 scores with 9 minutes left. And what do they do on the very first play of that drive? They actually run the ball, and they lose 3 yards, and then go
Oh,
3 and out.
yeah, that was a bad play.
Yeah,
Not
no
a
one
lot of,
covered
not a lot of
Nick
execution
Bolton.
on that play.
Right.
Yeah.
There was an MA. So I'm just like, okay, if you wanted to run the ball more, if you wanted to be more balanced, where was that opportunity in the second half? I understand that you were controlling the line of scrimmage in that second quarter and things were headed your direction, but because of that end of half swing, beginning of the second half swing, you were put in a tough spot in terms of game situation. Now, if there is one series where I think you can point to, hey, this was bad play calling, it is that first drive of the third quarter. It is where you get into that weird situation where you're in 2nd and 8, you throw the screen to Gibbs that loses 3 yards, and then you're in 3rd and 11, and you throw another screen to the other side, and that one gets nothing. Again, I think there are execution issues
that was
with
to
both those
JMO,
plays.
right?
Yes. And so like maybe, but I don't know, in 2nd and 8, would you rather run the ball there after and maybe set up another 3rd and long? Maybe. But again, like, if we're talking about 1 or 2 individual picking plays where you're like, I would have done this, I would have done this, I think we're getting a little too much into the Monday morning quarterbacking and just ignoring the main issue, which was execution, right? If that JMO screen has any blocking on it, like Tesla and Amon-Ra missed their blocks on that play, maybe they pick up 6 yards and suddenly it's 4th and 5 from inside the Chiefs 40. You go for it. Maybe the drive continues. That's kind of, I think, that the thoughts about that play call. And so I'm just like, I understand it looks bad, right? This you had 90 some yards in the first half. You were rushing for well over four a carry, and then you only rushed the ball 4 times in the second half. But when your defense can't get off the field and you're falling further and further behind, I just don't know what the game plan should have been, especially when your all throwing drive in the second half resulted in a touchdown.
Yeah, I think that's also, again, that's the byproduct of why Dan wanted to probably receive the ball in the first place. Is like you were hoping that you could get ahead and then dictate
Yes.
tempo and play calling
Yep.
going forward by just being able to continue to run the ball. But the minute they fell behind, it does feel like the knee jerk reaction was now we have to go almost full air raid at this point. And I don't know, Ryan. Like I can't necessarily blame that thought process because you're just trying to think of getting quick points on the board so that you can hopefully regain the lead at some point to hopefully, I think, probably get back to running the ball efficiently.
I think at this point, I want to take a look at like the numbers for the screen game as a whole, because like maybe that's something that you would unearth some like, nah, okay, something's not working about it. Maybe they gotta work something else out of it. I think like the most success that I feel like Goff has had throwing to running backs, other than the Gibbs play in Cincy was a screenplay, if I'm recalling correctly. Um, but if I'm thinking about like a lot of the other success that the Lions have had throwing the football to running backs, it's been, you know, shallow routes, like stuff, in the middle of the field as kind of like a check down
Yep.
situation where like the Lions running backs, they have the, elusiveness to shake a guy, or they have the power to maybe, Dave Montgomery's going to catch the ball for 3 yards, but then fall forward for another two or three. Um, but like, I think, I don't know, Slaw didn't have a great game, to your point, Jeremy. Like, there's little like fringe things that like that guy has earned his spot, and he had an uncharacteristic bad night as a rookie. Like, and those things are going to happen. Uh, I I don't know. Again, it's October. It was an AFC opponent. The Lions are 4-2. I if I could have asked any of you guys, I should have asked you last week. But like, if you were going to split these next two games, would you have wanted it to be any other way?
No, of course you want to beat the
No.
NFC opponent, right? It's
Top
important in
team in
terms
the
of your.
NFC.
It's not
They're
only
five and
yeah,
one.
it's not only taking down a top team in the NFC, but in tiebreakers matter when it comes to conference record. Losing an out of conference game is the exact kind of game you want to lose. And in terms of like most acceptable loss of the season, this is it. This was it. And I know that some people don't even like talking like that. It's loser mentality to you know it is admittedly a little bit on the line of what do you call it, an emotional loss. What do you call it? That's not the right word.
Oh, moral victory.
A moral victory. um but
It's
if
not
you
a
were to
moral victory. It's not.
I was gonna
Like,
say,
I don't
yeah.
think that's it at all.
no
No, they look terrible, and there's nothing to like necessarily like.
Yeah.
There's nothing to feel good about this loss about. Like it's objectively bad. Like all phases of this team looked bad, and it like led to a loss. Like I don't
Oh,
think there's anything morally to like.
I thought JMO looked good. I thought Sam Laporta looked
I'm
good. I thought there were some good things. Like,
there's some individual. Oh, sorry, there's some individual success, yes, but
yeah,
as a collective, like to Dan's point, right? Like we didn't complement each other well. So
yeah
yeah, Dan, like JMO has a good game. Sam Laporta has some good moments, but then like the offensive line or specifically, Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge struggle, and that has a like ripple effect on the rest of the offense to where like you do probably have to start moving away from the run game because now Jared Goff is getting a lot of pressure. He's not able to step into throws. Like it's to your point earlier, Ryan, like it's fringe things that you had like kind of moved away from, like, oh, Tate Ratledge has been playing really, really well. And then you see him play up against Chris Jones, and you're just like, oh yeah, that he is still a rookie. And this is still going to happen probably from time to time when he plays against veteran defensive tackles.
yeah, yeah.
it's a
It's gonna
process.
happen. It's gonna happen. And like, not the moral victory thing, but like, just think about how far the goalposts have been moved for this football team over the past 3 years. You want to talk about the last time that the Lions lost back-to-back games? 3 years ago, that Miami Dolphins loss. It was no bad awful. Look at where the Miami Dolphins are right now. The Lions are upset that they didn't win a football game where it was 20-17 in Arrowhead against the defending AFC champions from the past 3 seasons. Like the Lions are 4-2. It's okay. That's why I could at least understand a little bit of the sky is falling stuff at the beginning of the season when they lose to the Packers.
Right.
Hmm.
There's concern. You just saw a month of really, really good football. The Lions were one score away in this game. They were, to quote Dan Campbell, 3 plays from turning it on its head, right? Like
Yeah.
they didn't execute, they didn't win. It's okay. Move on to the next one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's nothing to really lament. Like I said earlier, like there's nothing to really like sulk over in this game. Like it was a bad game. It didn't look as clean as we were used to seeing it in this past month. There's no reason to kind of harp on it. And it's a perfect opportunity to just move on, go grab some jerky, and just get along with your day at this point. So that's what you can do when you move over to Righteous Felon and get some of their craft jerky. The Pride of Detroit podcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It's the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Each 2 ounce bag of jerky has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced, all natural black Angus beef and pride itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. Guys, at this point in time, I keep Righteous Felon Craft Jerky in my backpack at all times, or at least on my person. So whether it's going to work and having it in the morning, or even last week, I had it with me, went to Bible study because I needed to make sure I got my protein in right before that started. Next, I'm sharing jerky with people, and people are like, "This is amazing. Where did you get this from?" And I'm like, Righteous Felon. Go over to the website, type in POD15 at checkout to get 15% off your order. Once again, that's promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back, we're going to talk about the thing that probably most of you tuned into this podcast about. We're going to talk about Brian Branch and why his hands apparently are rated E for everyone, no matter what happens after a game. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Stay tuned right after this.
Ooh, man, that was
Claps in the chat for that
fantastic.
outro. That
Holy
outro in general.
smokes.
Because, I mean, listen, I don't mean this as a criticism because I think it works, but most of your throws to the read are telegraphed, right? Someone throws you a question, there's like a little bit of pause, and you go. That one was in the middle of like a Lions point.
Oh,
You baked
yeah.
it in there. That
Like,
is
that was if the JMO screen was a successful play. You know what I mean? Like you tucked it in there amongst all these other blockers. Like there's pay dirt.
I'm trying. Apparently, I have to deal with tough graders, so I need to make sure that I'm being a little more creative with the ad reads going forward.
no Russian
There are
judge
a lot
this
of
week.
nines. A lot of nines in the chat. Like 9 and above.
I'm sorry, there was one. Liam says 2.5, unreviewable unless you're a Chiefs podcaster.
Oh,
What's going on? You guys can't huddle now in the chat and
Yeah.
then throw a flag.
After a
Come on.
3-minute discussion, actually, it's a 4.1.
right. They got a call from New York. It's no longer a quality read.
Hey,
Let it. We can
and
talk
by
about
the
that
way,
one a little
by
bit.
the way, no.
They did reset it.
Should have done it again. I don't care. No, like I don't understand. I need to read more about the rules because it truly, I see it every game, every Sunday, not just every Lions game. I'm saying every single football game I watch, I see people just like confusedly doing this, and not people,
Right.
quarterbacks,
Yes.
head coaches. Like I'm like, does anybody know the rules?
We actually talked about this on a PODD midweek mailbag, and there isn't any outright rule about it. It's fully by the officiating's discretion, and it's just like you reset it if it was set to 25 instead of 40, which there are rules in which you reset the play clock to 40 versus 25. If it's running when it isn't supposed to be, maybe it's running while the refs are still talking about a play that happened 2 minutes ago that they haven't fully thrown a flag on yet.
Now you want to do it in the break?
No, I'm doing it in jest. But I do want to talk about it because I'll admit sometimes I act naive about like big picture things, and I trust people a little bit too much. But I don't think there was a conspiracy there. I actually believe the on-field judge when he says that they didn't consult New York. but I'm
I
willing
don't.
to hear otherwise.
Not at all. I don't believe that at all. Tinfoil hats in the chat. I don't believe that for a minute. Like, it's totally
But
fine. Just admit you did it, but it's the same thing as the Cowboys thing.
I
Where, like, you're going to dig your
yes,
heels in. You're going
sure.
to defend the
Well,
shield.
I do wonder what I want to know is when was that press conference with when was the media session with the official versus when was Dan Campbell's? Because was he I like
That's a
if
good
Dan
question.
Campbell goes out there and accuses and say, "Hey, all I know is it came from New York," which is what Dan Campbell said. I I'm not. We talked about this in the PODD postgame show. I don't think Dan Campbell was lying. I think he was making an assumption. That's what I think. I think he thought because it took so long, because
I
it
was
took
gonna say because it was so late.
yeah,
Yeah.
that the natural thought was that it came from New York. Where I think it is reasonable to say that there are a lot of moving pieces to that penalty. It is not a commonly called penalty, and so you like if one ref has an inclination like, "Hey, I think this was happening. Is that what you guys saw?" That would take a little bit to figure out.
Yeah. Can I ask
Uh,
2 questions? Miko, go ahead. You first.
I was just gonna make a snide remark. I think there should be a shot clock on when you can throw a penalty. Once the time has passed by, like, hey, you missed the window, bro.
More clocks. This game needs more clocks. uh, 2 things I want to know. One, if it hadn't resulted in a touchdown, would they have thrown the flag? Or would New York have?
No, probably not.
That's a good question.
I mean, it's a change of possession, but like,
I mean, you go through all that work for a penalty that's just going to get declined.
yeah, I feel like those penalties happen too, though, in other instances where like penalties are going to get declined anyways,
Yeah.
and you still take the time to throw it and announce it and then say that it's declined. I know I'm just living in a hypothetical world, but um, that was that was something. And then the other thing was, I think it's fair for Dan to make that assumption.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not like that's why I'm not calling
Yeah,
him a
yeah,
liar. That's
right.
not why I'm admonishing him. And
Yeah.
let me read the direct quote because someone said duh, 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 I don't know. Someone said he was told that it came from New
Real
York.
journalism.
That is not what he said. He says, quote, "Well, it doesn't matter if I agree or disagree. I know it came from New York." And they said he never stopped. He stayed in motion. He can't stay in motion. That was that. That had no bearing on the game. We lost by 13. So he didn't say he was told it came from New York. He said, "I know that it came from New York." And listen, maybe he was told that. Maybe there was a side ref that did tell him that. Maybe I am being naive. I'm open to the possibility of that absolutely being true, but I choose to believe that there's something. I wouldn't even call it nefarious, but something more along the
Sinister
actual
is the
lines.
word you're looking
No,
for.
no,
and it's the
no.
referees
No,
protecting
no,
the
no.
shield.
No,
and
no.
they band together.
They all
I mean,
want-
maybe,
protect
like,
They
one
all,
another.
they
that-
all
that-
wanted Taylor Swift tickets. That's
Here's the
all it
thing, like
was.
I am absolutely willing to believe people that think the referee who talked was just protecting his guys. That is a perfectly fine explanation. It's just not what I'm choosing to believe.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I
I'm
will
not going to
say-
get on Lions fans for believing that. Believing the other stuff where it's just like, oh, there was a controversy. The refs didn't call a penalty on the Chiefs because they wanted them to win the football game. I don't know why they didn't want them to win previous football games. I don't know why other refereeing coups were like, no, 14 penalties on you. Did they get suspended the following week for don't do that to our
You can't-
Mahomes?
You can't have the Chiefs falling to 2-4. What kind of NFL are we now living in if that happens? I will say though, and I saw someone else put in the chat, the DPI on Rockison on the Kelsey route, those are my least favorite DPIs because like there's that ball was not catchable. Like I don't care what you say.
Xavier
Him bumping
Worthy.
into you.
Xavier Worthy catchable. Yes. Travis Kelsey, the way he's been looking like a little bit of an older man. I don't know. I think it's debatable. But like I agree. Where like it's hard to judge. Like was he like did he have to make an extra move? And like if he would have had to take that extra move, to your point, Miko, who's going to make that catch? Right? Then it might
Right.
be uncatchable.
Yeah.
It's like those are my least favorites.
The irony of that is that like 2 plays before that, you saw the official go like this on a different play that was like super overthrown, and I literally tweeted, I'm like, oh my god, did you guys see that? Like they actually called uncatchable.
Oh, no.
Monkey paw. Yeah, I got monkey paw hard. 2 plays because like I forgot that I had tweeted that, and then like suddenly I looked over to my mentions, and everyone's like, "You jinxed it! Like this is all your fault!" Like what? I'm like, "What are you even talking about?" Then I look back, I'm like, "Oh no!"
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, there's a couple of Travis Kelce things. Like, do you guys think the
I think
catch
you
would have
could.
stood?
I think you could have thrown the challenge flag. Like I wouldn't have hated that.
Yeah, it's hard
Yeah,
to say.
same.
But did the refs help them spot the ball so they can run a play faster and force the Lions into
That is the question.
an illegal substitution?
I don't think it would have gotten overturned, and obviously neither did Terry McAuley because I think they asked him on the broadcast. He's like, no.
Yeah. Terry McAuley doesn't like the Detroit Lions. That much is clear.
It's just a weird thing because it's like he's like I think he has control of it, and it's like I think by the time you can like make that distinction, like the ball is being forced into his hand by the ground.
Right. Like he has control of it when it hits the ground. The ball doesn't really move, but his hand flies off of it.
And it like,
Yeah.
I felt like, doesn't it like land and it like almost kind of like comes around it? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I honestly
Like, where
don't
his
know
hands
what
are.
that gets called.
Yeah.
And because it was called a catch, like
because we live in
maybe it doesn't get
2025
overturned,
and
right?
no one knows what a catch is still.
Yeah.
And so even an obsessive of the rule book like myself, I don't know how that one would have gone. So that probably means it would have been worth the challenge. Certainly would have been worth the challenge more so than sporting 9 guys on the field and letting literally one defensive lineman, Aiden Hutchinson going 1 versus 5, and Patrick Mahomes just being like, oh, there's no one on this side of the field. I'm just going to pick up 11 free yards. Because if you didn't see my screenshot, the Lions literally had 9 guys on the field.
They did. Poor man, I don't want to bring it up. Do I want to say it? I don't want to say it. It's in the break. Poor Tyrus Wheat, dude. Like he had a moment last night.
I don't think I know this.
The touchdown.
Hmm.
The play where he got spun around and he didn't know.
Oh.
Oh,
I don't even know if I know this one.
I'll pull it up. It was tough. It was like, damn.
What touchdown?
It was in the second half. I'm trying to remember. I don't think it was.
Oh, was it Mahomes scramble for a touchdown? The 1-yard touchdown scramble?
No, it was the short pass. It was the Brown, the motion thing.
Oh, the little shovel pass thing.
The shovel pass thing.
That is the touchdown.
Like Tyrus Wheat got upfield, and then he was like,
Yeah. He just lost contain. Yeah.
Like
well,
he hit the Bruce Arians thing.
yeah.
They didn't do great containing like in the run game. I think like Aiden had one early in the game that was like really bad.
Yep.
And to Ryan's point, very uncharacteristic of Aiden.
Yeah. I do wonder. It was Weed. It wasn't Lacey.
Yeah, it was number 99.
Yeah. I don't know if I love him on the edge. It's why, kind of an underrated storyline entering this week. It's Marcus Davenport, I think, becomes eligible to return. Is that right? Or am I a week too far? I might be.
Wait for
week
who?
2. Marcus Davenport.
Who did?
Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
He's missed 4 games now, right?
3, 4, 5, 6.
So he's eligible to return. Yeah. I don't know if he will. The only real sense we got of when he'll come back is I think there was a report that said they're putting him on IR, but the expectation is that he'll be back shortly after. So that's a question to ask Dan tomorrow.
Well, we know that at least Marcus Davenport's going to play more football this season.
Then
we know another defensive end is done playing football
forever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to close the door on any opportunity he may play like flag football in the Olympics. I don't know if that's part of his lifelong goals with the sport of football, but Zadarius Smith retiring, it makes me feel things about the Philadelphia Eagles too. Like I think it says
Oh
more
yeah,
about the Eagles than it says to me about Zadarius Smith.
Ooh,
I'm ready to
I
go.
like this tinfoil hat.
that was a thought I had. I'm not even gonna lie, because I was just like, mid-season retirements. I feel like are fairly rare,
For
right? Like
veterans,
especially if
especially.
you're yeah, especially if you're not like a starter. And so for Zadarius to be pretty adamant about playing and to play all of what 3 weeks in Philly and to be like, yeah, I'd rather just not play, tells me a lot about Philly. Like I feel like if it was a good, healthy culture, like you'd ride that out. Like, hey, I'm playing a couple snaps here, a couple snaps there, good teammates, good coach, good coaches, good culture. I'm gonna get paid and just coast to the rest to the end of the season. For you to be like, man, keep the rest of y'all millions. I'm going home.
I mean, like, here was Darius Smith's job: 5 games, 131 snaps, 92 of them as a pass rusher.
Just go in there and get the
What are they
quarterback
paying him? You know what I
70% of
mean?
the time.
Like, you're not doing a lot of the dirty stuff that you need to do in run defense. There was a moment in their last game where I was watching him and I saw him on the sideline on a play where like the Eagles gave up a score. And like he just had this look on his face. And I know it's like kind of informed by the fact that he retired today, but like in that moment I did feel like, man, he does not look happy right
Mm.
now. Like he's like on the sideline, the Eagles are getting scored on. They're about to lose this game and he's like not in there making a difference. So maybe part of it is like, wow, I guess maybe I do just need to hang it up because if I'm not out there and they're getting scored on, they don't think I'm any better than that.
Yeah.
Or my favorite theory is that the Eagles are going to fall apart at the seams.
There are signs, right? I think we were talking about this, and I can't remember if it's this show or a different one where the Eagles were kind of at a crossroads. I think it was before the Thursday night meltdown is probably an overstatement, but
I don't know.
Shellacking,
um,
embarrassment.
shellacking, yeah, sure. But like there was this discussion amongst Eagles fans of, hey, they're winning, but there's this feeling that it's not real. There's this feeling that they're not playing well enough to have this record be sustainable. And they compared it to the 2023 Eagles versus the 2024 Eagles, where there was kind of the same feeling at both points in those previous 2 seasons. 2023, they were right. It wasn't real. They were terrible. They finished what, like 1-8 down the stretch or something crazy.
That was really bad.
2024, they were bad, but they got better. They figured things out. The chemistry melded together. Whatever needed to happen happened, and they got better. And it was just like, all right, they're at this crossroads. Like, where are they going to go from here? And the following week, they get torn up on Thursday Night Football by, I don't know, is he going to be any good? I can't think of the quarterback's name.
Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart?
Is Jackson Dart actually going to be good? Because here's the thing. I have a very, very vivid memory of what happened last quarterback. Because when I have such a vivid memory, I can't remember anyone's name.
Indiana Jones.
That's right, Daniel Jones. He won 2 out of his first 3 games, and I just remember every single Fox, CBS have their pregame shows have these big like, let's talk to all these Giants fans. They're finally got their franchise quarterback after Eli. Everything's getting turned around. Everybody's really exciting, and I know that's what's gonna happen this week. I know Fox, CBS, NFL Network, they're all gonna run these. Are the Giants back? Are the Giants back? And I'm just like, y'all gotta
That only
relax.
happens after you beat the Lions. That only happens after you beat the Lions. Do you get the resurgence tagline?
I get the appeal of Brian Dable, but that's going to be the second time that he's going to be in that moment. To your point, Jeremy, and it's like, how are you going to equip your quarterback to do that? I will say that a lot of the social media clips I see about Jackson Dart makes me wonder how he's going to navigate that type of fame that soon.
Yeah.
They got two.
I don't
They
know.
got two
And
young guys
Scadaboo.
that I
And
wonder that. Yeah, I was
Scadaboo.
gonna say.
Like, we gotta talk
both-
about Scadaboo. Like, my favorite
Bro,
video
those
on
two
the
to-
internet is him at Arizona State, like, against a brick wall with his helmet before the game, just smashing into it. And it's like, this guy has a shelf life of how long, Miko? Does he make it longer than 3 years in the NFL?
I'll give him 4. Because I think he's like. Because I think he's
He's
equally
not going to
to
get a
punish
second
other-
contract. That's how I feel. And it's like,
Then live it up while you can, man. Like, just punish as many people as you can. Walk over them, rip your shirt
off
open.
with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and bump bellies and chests. Like,
By the way,
Scadaboo could have a what was that 2022 Jamal Williams season?
yeah, for the
Like it could be
Giants.
that. Yeah, where it's like, oh, this is awesome. This is what it's gonna be forever, and then it just like
he's out of the league in
it
3
just
years.
isn't.
And there's a part of you too, right, where you're like, man, the Giants fans at least deserve this. Like, they had to watch Saquon Barkley win a Super Bowl last year with the Philadelphia Eagles of all teams. Like, give them something. And if it's a psychopath like Cam Scadaboo, who, like, one of my first like true memories of like watching a game with him or with him in it was the game where I forget what like former quarterback did the Billy Madison like Adam Sandler impression of him saying his name when he scored a touchdown.
Scadaboo.
Scadaboo-hoo. And I was just like, all right, like this is a fun name. And then I watched the rest of the game and I was like, this guy's just a tank. And like he doesn't care about his neck at all.
Yeah,
He doesn't care about his neck.
I mean,
Some
he's,
Peyton
he's
Hills
fortunate.
references in the chat. Peyton Hills.
I was gonna say that's the other guy that like comes to mind, and it's unfortunate that's like
Yeah.
It's unfortunate what, Miko?
it's easy to make that connection when it's white running backs.
Like Zach Center. I get it. Zach Center, right? I mean,
Not everybody can be Christian McCaffrey, all right?
But I mean, while Brian Branch is distracting us with that I don't know, NFL coming down decision, what is anything going to happen with Dable for entering the blue tent for like interrupting a concussion
yeah.
thing?
I think I saw that they're going to get like a hefty fine.
Yeah, it has to be.
They probably should, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's why I don't think this is going to work, to your point, Jeremy. Like, you said that, and I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. Like, I've already seen this movie before.
I have never seen such blatant disrespect for your backup quarterback than Brian Dable on that day. Just like,
Dude, what about the Giants fans?
why
Like,
is Russell Wilson even on that
play?
team anymore? Why is he on the team?
Jameis is still on the team, right?
I have no idea.
What Jameson? People love Jameis when he comes in and plays quarterback. They're like, wow, this is at least going to be entertaining. Like, we don't want to watch Russell Wilson throw the ball out of the back of the end zone 4 times in a row in the red zone.
I hate my backup quarterback so much that I am going to like mafia threat the neurological guy.
If you make me play Russell Wilson for one more week, you'll be swimming with the fishes.
I'm gonna sick. Wait, no, that's the Eagles guy. I was gonna say big. What's the
Dom?
Eagles? Big Dom. I'm gonna make a trade for Big Dom and run your ass out of town.
My gosh. Yeah, it says that like the NFL is taking it like very seriously and the Giants are bracing for a fine.
Well, where is it? How long is it gonna take?
Here's the thing.
You
They already
switched-
gave Brian Branch.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
Brian
hey.
Branch. Oh wait, this is an open and shut case. Okay.
Yeah. Brian Branch hit the streamer. The FaZe Clan.
I was gonna
guy.
say, if this was like a couple of years ago, I feel like everybody collectively would have been like, "No, I understand." If this was Juju a couple of years ago, every fan would have been like, "Nah, he had that one coming."
Hold on, I gotta
No
read this.
context needed.
I gotta read this comment from Trevor. It says, "You come to me on the day of my QB going God mode against the Eagles and ask me to be patient while you try to save him from lifelong brain damage?"
What is he petting though? Is he petting a cat or is he petting Cam Scadaboo who looks like a cat?
It's Scadaboo. It's Scadaboo.
definitely Scadaboo.
It's a cat with Scadaboo's head on it.
Oh, it's not even a cat. It's a pit bull. Like it's literally just foaming at the mouth. But Dable's so delusional, he's just petting it like it's a cat, and it's like that dog is rabid.
Dude.
I'm sorry, he's petting the injured body of Malik Neighbors.
That sucks, man. Because like if they had him, I do think he's definitely top 10. Like if not
Neighbors.
better, I think. Yeah, in my opinion,
Mhm.
I think he's a dude. Which is just like a bummer because like it kind of brings them down. And I would love, like that's part of why I think I maybe still feel pretty good about the Lions. Is like the Eagles are falling apart. We don't look like that.
Right. It's true. Are
I
they
think like
also
they're falling
4
apart,
and 2 too,
and they have
right?
injuries.
Yeah, they're 4-2.
Yeah,
It's very different.
but like
4
they're
and 2.
falling apart. They're having injuries along their offensive line,
I
and
just
I don't know. Everything I thought about Jalen Hurts is coming true. Like,
I just don't understand how the vibes can be so awful all the time there, and sometimes they pull themselves out of it.
Like it has to be Saquon Barkley. Like that's what the difference was last year. That's it. Like, and then they used him until like obviously something's not working. Whether to Miko's point, it's offensive line injuries or maybe just like a huge workload. But
You know who I think it is. Lions legend
Sirianni.
himself.
Ah.
Kellen Moore kept that team together.
the coordinator brain drain is real
Yeah,
in Philadelphia.
that's right.
Let's see if the ringer runs with that one.
I do find it funny though that like a lot of the narrative that's been talked about like the Eagles' struggles has been fairly fixated on Jalen Hurts and
Jalen
AJ
Hurts,
Brown. When
right?
Well, Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, like it's Donovan McNabb and T.O. like all over again.
I mean,
And
really
like
is.
I'm waiting for everyone to pan to the dude in charge and be like because like
That's
that was
Dante
the benefit of having
Culpepper. How dare you?
It was both.
that was that was the benefit of having Andy Reid at the time. Like you knew it wasn't Andy Reid's fault when Donovan McNabb and T.O. weren't getting along. Like you kind of got to like look at Sirianni and be like that dude doesn't look like he's well put together either. So like it kind of just feels like a house of cards built on sand.
I'm here for
It's
it.
it's entirely possible that they were just so uber talented that like I don't know, as long as you can keep them from doing something legally wrong that they get caught doing, like you'll be okay.
Remember how the Eagles season started?
What, at the beginning of this year?
Yes. The very first
no.
play. The very
Dallas Cowboys, Jalen Carter spitting
yes.
on Dak Prescott.
Yes. I shouldn't even say the very first play. It was literally before the very first play.
The offense had not run a play. They had done the kickoff to the start of the NFL season. The NFL season had just started in front of everybody.
That is, I mean, if
And Jalen Carter hawked a loogie.
if this is how the Eagles season heads and just like complete downward trajectory, no notes for the writers of the NFL. Just a perfect foreshadow dropping right there in the opener.
Does it make it better to you that Dak spat first and like that was a thing that was like unearthed by Twitter? Because everybody obviously saw Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott, but then it was like, hold on, there was a second loogie.
That was like the funniest thing to me when people were like, but Dak spit first. And then like I went and saw the video. I'm like, it's nowhere near the same.
And he baited him. He knew what he was doing. He got Jalen Carter to come over and spit on him.
Which
Like-
is wild.
I don't think you can start a script better than that.
All right, HSW, relax.
What's going on?
No, we're not doing that. Nope. All right, let me get to some alerts. We
haven't done any of those.
I have not.
Austin Mammoth. Okay. All right.
Oh, Jesus. Am I just going to have to take the live chat off the screen? Because I feel like you guys are out of pocket right now. All right, let me get to the alerts. MHW Tennis. Thank you for the follow on Twitch. Sports Turf Pro, 30 months subscribed on Twitch. Says love BB, but he's got to keep his emotions in check. Quirky Zerky, 47 months on Twitch, says as much as I want to blame the refs, there was too many bad play calling sequences that stalled the Lions' drives. David Lunch, 32 months, says 32. Does that mean I'm suspended for one stream? That depends if you win your appeal. Robo, 44 months, says relax, guys. RELAX, guys.
Who's the Court of Appeals?
Super Bowl.
Who's the Court of Appeals for Pride of Detroit? Who are you putting in charge of that?
Eric.
Question.
Erica Morgan.
Nah.
Don't give Eric any more work.
Eric or Morgan, good luck. You're not.
What do you mean? I feel like
you're not winning your appeal.
Yeah.
I feel like Morgan's gonna like pass everybody's appeal unless you like said something stupid on Twitter. Then like,
Well,
if it's Twitter related, if it's Twitter related, sorry.
No. Eric and Morgan are very stubborn in their initial impression.
I mean, they are birthday twins, so you know.
They are.
Wow.
Shout out to 10/10 birthdays. Ben Freddy, 17 months, says let's get healthy and beat the Bucks. I agree. Ryan Toledo, Detroit, 38 months, says talk about appealing. You know what else is appealing? Jerky
the money in the
meat
banana
sticks
stand?
from Righteous Fellow Jerky.
That's pretty good too. There's always money in the jerky stand.
RGA, 34 months on Twitch. Kula, 35 months, says, was it my imagination or should Monty have had more time? I'm salty and tired and probably unreasonable right now, but happy 35 month to me. Yeah, I think we can talk about that a little bit. Part of it is, I think, what I was saying before about the Lions not really just having an opportunity to run the ball in the second half. And it was certainly more split in the first half, but it wasn't split evenly at all. You know, Gibbs had 13 carries to Montgomery's 4 in the first half.
And Montgomery only had 4 in the first half?
Mm-hmm.
That's all he had for the entire game. Yeah.
All 4 of them. The only contributions in the second half were the 2 catches that he had.
But those were big catches.
They were. So yeah, I mean, I think of all like the valid versus unvalid coaching criticisms from this game, I think getting Dave Montgomery more involved is a valid one. And you know, maybe instead of a 4th and 1 gadget play where your quarterback nearly fumbled the ball and literally handed it to the defender, maybe that's just a Dave Montgomery run up the middle.
I mean, like I would have, I don't know if I still would have loved the play, but like I would have respected it more though if sure you motion Goff out there and like it's just like it's a delay. You let Montgomery be patient and try to find something and then punch it in from a yard out. You know what I mean? And if they get stuffed, they get stuffed. And what happens? They leave the Chiefs on their 6-inch line.
Yep. Yeah. So I do think sometimes, and they even pointed it out on the broadcast, it seems
sorry.
It seems like there's a insistence on proving that the running backs are interchangeable. Like, no, Gibbs can run on 3rd and 1. Like, okay, yeah, he can, but Montgomery's better at it.
How many comments have I heard this year? Montgomery is the power back, but don't get it confused. Gibbs can run between the tackles. Gibbs can run between the tackles. It's
and
like,
I understand.
I know he can.
I understand when you have Gibbs out there, you're a little bit more unpredictable, right? If you have Montgomery in there in a power situation, you're not necessarily tipping your hand, but you're at least tipping the scales of likelihood what you're going to do.
But what now? Montgomery's thrown the ball twice out of that formation. What's going to happen next?
That's true.
We didn't even talk about Sam Laporta in the first half.
It's true.
What a sick, absolute.
I mean, you
sick
mentioned
catch.
It was.
Yeah, but like, man, that was a sick catch. I thought J-Mo had like a pretty darn good game. Like he was pretty great. He was a spark plug.
He just wasn't like consistent. Like that was like just
right.
And then, but what you go back to the Lions' consistency on offense, and what is it? It's Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah,
it's their running game being more balanced.
Yeah,
that didn't happen, and the Lions lost the football game. I think they'll lose football games where if they lose both of those things, I could see it being really tough for Detroit to win football games.
Sure.
If they only lose one of those things, I feel like their defense, when it's healthy, will be good enough to beat most teams in the NFL.
Yeah. Hey, I got a crazy conspiracy theory that I just
Please
came
tell
up
me.
with.
What's that?
Is it actually bad when Sam Laporta makes an outstanding grab in the back of the end zone? Because his two best catches as a Detroit Lion came last night and the one-handed grab against the Washington Commanders.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's true. I forgot
Both
about
losses.
that. That was a sick play.
I'm just asking questions.
Gosh, man. I didn't want to think about that.
You know, he caught the flea flicker against the Cowboys. That debunks the theory.
Okay. Well,
Atlanta TD? What did he have against Atlanta? I don't remember that one. I don't even remember when the last time the Lions played Atlanta was.
the last time the Lions played Atlanta, Desmond Ridder was their starting quarterback.
It
It was the
wasn't
start of
Marcus
2023.
Mariota.
No, it was Desmond Ridder. That was the game that Aiden Hutchinson called game. He had the strip sack fumble.
So you even have to narrow it down there because when you say that, I'm like, you mean the
Like
Chicago
on the-
Bears
on-
game?
Yeah, true. It was a home
Oh.
game.
The Cowboys game is the one that Hutch broke his leg. I guess Sam Laporta is bad luck.
Oh my gosh. Stop blaming this on Winn-Dixie, okay? Like, leave the golden receiver out of this.
All right, let me get to the rest of the alerts, and then we should probably jump back in here soon because there is football currently being played.
There's 2 footballs being played
Not
tonight.
yet, is it? But only
No.
one so far.
Just one. Atlanta Buffalo.
McVeigh Rob, 31 months subscribed on Twitch. Says free BB. Jockey Wolf, thank you for the follow. How am I not myself for the follow? What the heck, buddy? You've been following for years. Why are you following again? I've got questions. Knoxville Lions fan, 39 months, says that catch by Laporta and sack by Hutch and block by Saint were awesome. Too bad for the loss. Move on to Tampa. Yeah, that is really, I think, the most disappointing part of the trick play being called back is that Amon-Ra scored that touchdown. While
Oh, yeah.
while Jared is fumbling the ball and trying to get it in his hands, Amon-Ra is pancaking the cornerback
Oh, man.
in a way that shouldn't happen.
In a way that also allowed Jared Goff to gather the ball.
Yes.
Yeah, that's another disappointing part of that loss because I can just imagine what the film study session would have been like for the Chiefs. It's like,
Right.
hey, we don't let this happen on the 1 yard line.
Jedin Savannah, 18 months subscribed on Twitch, says practice squad DBs less than Miko's ad read. Facts.
I mean, it's not a tough bar to clear.
Hey, don't you downplay my ad reads?
No, I'm saying
They're still NFL
your ad
talent.
reads being better than. Oh, okay, if you take it from that route, I guess. Yeah,
See,
that's fair.
you should have said it this way. Miko's ad read is setting too high of a bar for practice squad DBs.
That's fair too.
I like that explanation, but I wasn't dissing Miko when I said that. I was saying that you need to hold Miko to higher standards because he's consistently putting out great work. That's what I'm saying. There's too many Russian judges in the chat. Today's was great. We went over why it was great. We didn't really talk about why Miko's camera went black and then he showed back up in a onesie for people who weren't on our last stream.
That's true. That is a new channel point
Yeah,
redemption.
this is a. What is it like? 200,000?
I think
It's a lot,
something like
right?
that. Yeah.
When Jeremy first put it in, it was not high enough. And I think people
No,
started
that's true.
redeeming it.
yes, and everyone got refunded.
Yeah.
Can you show it off a little bit?
I mean, it's a onesie. I mean, it's got a beaver head.
It does have
Got
a
a
beaver head.
zipper. I can show the chest hair a little bit.
Can I ask a question? You don't have to show me to prove it.
I know. What do you
Yes,
want to
it
ask
does.
him?
Yes, it does.
It has a tail.
It has a tail.
Yes, it does. It also has pockets, which is also like the dope thing too. Like,
Dude,
I kind
No,
of want to see it now.
LJB Ruff, no. Jeremy, no. Second segment. I want to go watch football.
I'm not even done with the
dinner.
alerts. Fun Roker, thank you for the follow. Steel Lions, 33 months, says, a little disappointed in the outcome, but still proud of our guys. Rather be here than where the Saints are. Go Lions.
Dude, did you read MJ Kimball's comment?
What did he say?
It was before it was.
Is it assless? You think You think Bucky's is out here putting assless chaps on the market?
Maybe.
they literally have everything they could.
Show tail. Let's see that tail. Post tail.
Maybe that has to be another channel point redemption on top of it.
How many points to see tail? I think that should be only tails. That should be the name of the redemption.
I was gonna say, subscribe to my OnlyFans. Diamond members only.
Oh my goodness. JT Sam, 33 months, says, I feel like the team needs more experience winning from behind. This is completely based on feeling, but I don't think the Lions do particularly well in the passing game when down. They're usually never down, so I feel like they don't get enough reps while down. Not that I want them losing during games, but it seems like a necessary trait for a Super Bowl team to be able to win down 7 to 10 points. I think it's a really interesting take.
Collinsworth brought it up on the broadcast.
Yeah. I think it depends on the team they're playing. And I think it depends on the team's health. I think right now that is true. And I think that's partially true because you don't have Taylor Decker. You have two really young guards that are still kind of figuring things out. And in this day, you were playing against the best defensive tackle in football who's kind of eating your interior offensive line's lunch for most of the day.
Who just so happened to be coming off of a game where he deleted all of his social media accounts because people were calling him out for not being motivated.
Right.
And then they cut to him on the sideline before the game and he's tearing up like during the national anthem. And I was like, oh no.
I think isn't that like his thing though? Like doesn't he do that all the time? I feel like
He
Who's
may,
the guy
but
that had like famously had the tear just like
no Sean Moreno.
Was it No Sean Murray? Damn, that's a great pull.
Where the tears like almost didn't look real.
It looked like the Key and Peele sketch where he's sweating profusely, but it was only coming out of his eyeballs.
It has kind of honestly like a very moving and incredible shot. But to get back to the point, it's something that they're certainly not as good at as other teams because they don't throw the ball downfield as much as other teams do. But it's not something that I think they're fully incapable of. They've won shootouts before. They've come from behind before. They haven't had to often, but I mean, they won that Texans game.
Right. I mean, the Texans game is probably the greatest example of it.
Sure.
But I don't know. I guess it just comes back to like I don't mind the fact that they play complementary football sometimes, and like they didn't force a turnover last night. They didn't get a stop when they needed to get a stop, and like I feel like the Lions are going to be more often than not each week they're going to be able to dictate the pace of the game, right? Like I feel like they're going to be able to bring it to their opponent, and it didn't happen. But I don't know. I think it's a thing to not be concerned about, but it's like it's almost like there isn't enough data.
Yeah, because they don't fall behind enough.
So it's just like baked into their DNA. It's weird.
If they were to lose next week, do you think there would be like, and it's like a similar thing, do you think that at that point in time there would be more to kind of like be critical of?
Sure. I mean, it's going to happen regardless if you lose a football game.
Well, I just mean because like I know like we're like all sitting here now where it's like this is fine. Like you were saying during the first segment, like if you were to lose one of these two games, like this is the one that you want to lose. I don't know if it'd be as easy to have that outlook if it's the first time they've dropped back-to-back games in 3 years.
Yeah, I think as always context matters, right? Like, is it another game where they do fall behind, their defense doesn't step up and make a play here or there and help out the offense?
Who's playing? Who's not playing? Is Branch playing? Is Kirby
Is
playing?
is Lee McNeil playing for the
Yeah.
first time?
Is Taylor
No.
Decker playing? Because like,
Right. I don't do I think there will be that nuance to that conversation? No, I do think people will start panicking and saying like, hey, this team can't beat a good team. Like you're already kind of hearing rumblings of that, right? Well, okay, they beat the Bears, the Bengals, the Ravens, and who am I forgetting?
Yeah, the Browns.
The Browns. No, they can't beat the two legit teams they've played. No, that of course ignores that the Ravens were at least a little bit better than they currently
I can't
are.
do that right now. I can't do that this early into the season. I hate it because it changes every week,
Right.
right? Like the Ravens were an AFC favorite to start the season. The Lions played them in week 3.
Yeah.
You're telling me
Yeah.
they were nowhere close to being that team that everybody thought they were at the beginning of the season when they were
Right.
mostly healthy?
And there's there's a difference between beating a bad team and punishing a bad team. The Lions have been punishing bad teams. The Green Bay Packers have been beating bad teams.
Yeah, I mean, after the end of that game yesterday, I have questions about their ability to just like put away football teams,
Yeah.
like in general.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the outlook on the NFC just seems so weird.
That's another reason why I'm not that worried. Like the Lions are currently the 6th seed, which is not great. It's also a technicality because the Packers are technically ahead of them, even though they have one less win, just by weird winning percentages with a tie.
Yeah.
But if you look at the teams that are underneath, the teams that are threatening the Lions' position, the only teams that are currently on the outside looking in that I think are teams the Lions should be worried about are Minnesota and Washington. That's it.
Of the teams that are below them,
Yes.
not counting the Rams.
No, because the Rams are in. They're in the 7th seed.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That was the distinction you're making. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just looking at the team. I mean, like, of all the teams below them, just in general, I
Yeah.
think it's just the Rams and the Commanders.
You're not
I don't
scared
know.
of Minnesota, and
I'm
that's a totally fair point to have. But I want to put this on screen so people can see it. But
And I guess like so in some hypothetical situation, the Lions end up as the 7 seed. And they would have to play the 2, right?
yep,
Is there anybody who I'm going to be like scared of the Lions playing if they have to go on the road?
right. No, I mean
I don't know if I can't say that right now with any definitiveness, but like
Mhm.
the 49ers, they have no Nick Bosa, no Fred Warner.
for the rest of the
Like
year.
that, yes, that's going to start like it's gonna hurt. Like unless Robert Saleh is a miracle worker. Like I know they have an easy schedule, but if they end up in like the 2 or 3 spot, I mean, I'm not worried if the Lions finish in the 6th spot and have to go to San Francisco. You know
Right.
what kind of juice that football team would have?
Right.
Are you
Right.
kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
Redemption, even if you are banged up.
hey, guess what? Losing to the Chiefs now, way better than doing it in February. How motivated would the Lions be for a February matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs? Would Dan Campbell need to say a word all week long?
Yeah.
Other than Brian Branch, keep a lid on it. Like,
Yeah.
But like looking down these teams, like maybe Atlanta, I don't know how they're playing tonight, but I feel like they're way too inconsistent. I don't think Dallas is going to pull out of this. I
Their
don't think the
defense, right?
Giants. Yeah, Dallas's defense is garbo.
It's so bad. Their offense is good, and that's why
Yeah.
I think they could sneak in and be a wild card team. But like,
Right.
they're not a team I'm afraid of.
Right. And thinking about falling beneath one of these two teams also presumes that none of the teams above the Lions are also going to fall off a cliff, which could happen with the 49ers. It could happen with the Eagles. It could happen with the Rams or the Seahawks. I find it interesting that the Rams are 0-2 in the conference, which is not something I had realized. So all 4 of their wins are against AFC teams. Houston, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Baltimore. They ain't beat anybody either. I guess Indianapolis, but
But I guess
I think
to
at
our point,
Jacksonville.
like that's
Weird.
That's why this game matters, right?
Yep.
Coming up,
it's a
like
divisional
you
game
win
or conference game.
yeah, win more conference games, and like the Bucks are going to regress a little bit. Like I feel like they're flying a little too close to the sun here.
Yeah. Let's melt those wings.
Their schedule gets tough in November. Patriots at Bills at Rams. Like that's a tough 3 game stretch. The Saints are like they're not playing good football, but like they're getting a little spunky. They still have to play them twice.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
Keith Schmidt, thank you for the $5 super chat on YouTube. Says, felt like every tackle on defense was a Chiefs player falling 2-3 yards forward. Lions just looked tired and flat, uncharacteristic for sure. Yeah, it did feel, especially towards the end of that game, where they were just tired. They were getting... The offense wasn't staying on the field long enough. Bad complementary football, like we were saying. Offense getting off the field too quickly. Defense not getting off the field quickly enough. Didn't work well together. And then Liam, thank you for gifting a sub to Brand New Lions. And we are finally caught up. Ready to talk some Brian Branch?
We can. I know someone asked why I have this purely just to annoy my wife. And I bought my youngest daughter one, so we were like matching.
Annoy your wife? Annoy your wife?
Hey,
Is that what we're calling it?
This is a family program, Jeremy. I can't tell you what we call it.
As soon as she saw the tail.
Just know I'm not building dams over here.
Oh no. All right.
Wow.
This next segment brought to you by Keith Sweat.
This feels like a podcast more apt for about 11 p.m., not 7 p.m.
It's 11 p.m. somewhere.
So the midnight, is this the midnight storm?
All right. Let's get to it.
And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD where we are talking about this segment. We're going to be talking about Brain Branch because that's the thing that everyone kind of wants to talk about. I'll be honest with you guys. I turned that game off once they started kneeling. So waking up to finding out that there was more activity after that game was a complete shock to me. But Jeremy, I know you have some pretty strong feelings on this, so I'll go ahead and let you kind of kick us off with just your initial reaction to not only like how Brian Branch reacted, but to the suspension that was handed down earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, first I'll just quickly recap the series of events in case people don't have the full picture of what happened. Brian Branch kind of clued us into why he was so frustrated at the end of the game. There was a particular play with about 3 minutes left where Juju Smith-Schuster kind of blindside blocks him, pretty hard shove to the back. I know some people tried to argue that it was to his shoulder. No, it was to his back. Branch is already fighting through an ankle injury. The game is essentially over at this point. So he's frustrated. He doesn't, to his credit, he doesn't react in the moment. He doesn't get up in the guy's face. Just kind of, he looked a little defeated, to be quite honest. But when it came to the end of the game, Branch walks by, the whole snubbing of Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how much of a storyline that should actually be. I think Branch maybe just didn't even see him. I don't think there was an intentional snub, although there is kind of a subplot there too where it looked like on Patrick Mahomes' touchdown, he flexed on him in particular and kind of threw the ball in his direction. So maybe there was a little tension there. Branch looked very remorseful and very sad and all this. I feel like he was actually pretty emotionally beat down by this game. But that's getting ahead of myself because obviously after the game, he walks past Patrick Mahomes. Juju Smith-Schuster approaches him, kind of gets in his face a little bit, probably says something that we'll never know. And Branch reacts in the moment by slapping him, punching him, whatever you want to call it, with the helmet on. And then it's kind of off to the races from there where Juju Smith-Schuster he slaps him hard enough where he falls to the ground. It's a tough look for Juju Smith-Schuster, for being quite honest. But then he gets up, kind of chases over after Branch. The two kind of wrestle for a little bit. Branch throws him to the ground. Then the whole team converges, and there's some more punches thrown here and there. It's pretty ugly. And then, lo and behold, Branch gets suspended by the league for one game, the Bucks game. He is appealing it, per a couple reports out there. So I don't know. I'm firmly of the belief that Branch is not necessarily getting what he deserves, but he has no one to blame other than himself. Um, sort of stuff is not acceptable, and I know a lot of people are like, well, punches happen all the time, slaps happen all the time, and they're not suspended. It's different after the game. It just is. If you're in the heat, it if he would have done that right after that block had happened, he would not be suspended right now. But this is viewed kind of as a sucker punch, right? It's viewed as, hey, the game's over. This is the part where we put the game aside, we shake each other's hands, and we move on. And the fact that he did it after the game means that, I mean, that's it. Like, you don't have a defense at that point, in my opinion. Now, I do think the fact that this happened on a national stage, and I do think the fact that the Sunday Night Football broadcast is very good, and they're going to catch everything that happens, and they're going to show a million replays of it, is kind of affecting this as well, because it's very visible. I kind of put it out there on Twitter, like, if this had happened in a 1 p.m. game, and everyone had done what Meko did, which is move on to the next game, or go to bed, or whatever, like, the broadcast wouldn't even show this, right? It would have happened, and maybe there'd be footage from the stands, or maybe there'd be footage from something else, or maybe, Fox would go back and be like, hey, after we went to the next game, this happened. But it wouldn't have been as visible, and I do wonder if there would have been as harsh of a punishment, because you kind of have to make an example of this, because it was out there for everybody to see. But, long story short, I don't think Branch has a good defense in his appeal. He certainly doesn't have a great track record, and so I don't know. I'm not gonna fight tooth and nails and hashtag free BB
Until it's backwards.
until it's backwards.
I don't know. What do you think about this, Miko?
So to get the politically correct stuff out of the way, like to Jeremy's point, like this can't happen, right? Like this can't happen in a game or after a game. The league does have very strong stances on these types of things. I will say from from the things that I took away from Brian Branch's media availability, I do get the feeling that this was something that was building up, not just from, and I don't even think just from this game. I don't know if you guys remember, but like a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Brian Branch and some of the penalties he was picking up. And I asked the question, like, do you think that he's being not targeted, but that he's being played a certain way where people are being way more physical than they have been with him in the past, and that's making him maybe frustrated or causing him to draw more penalties that he hasn't drawn in the past. And from his explanation of why this was getting to him, I just feel like this is something that has been building up. That doesn't excuse it, but it's one of those things where it takes it from oh, well, one block in the back led to a punch. I think it's weeks of him feeling like I'm getting, in his own words, I'm getting bullied out here, and I'm not being protected by the officials in the same way that they probably protect offensive players. And that frustration leads to what we end up having at the end of the game. Again, doesn't justify it, but I think it provides a different level of context to where me as a fan, I understand it. I can't excuse it, but I understand how potentially weeks of this type of frustration and this type of thing happening to you as a player leads to bro, not only am I not only do I feel like I'm not being officiated fairly, we're also getting drubbed out here by a team that doesn't have to they're good enough to not play us like this, and they are. And I'm just I'm over it at this point. So that's kind of my initial takeaway from the whole situation, Ryan.
Yeah, I think you guys make a lot of great points. I think the unfortunate thing too, on top of Jeremy's point, about it being a nationally broadcasted game, and it's between two of the top teams in the NFL. So as far as profile goes, but the other point that Jeremy brought up, you had the Green Bay situation last year where he gets ejected from the game, and that's a bang bang play. I know we went on about that, but that
It
is a
doesn't help when you
play.
go.
That's a
go
play in the game. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't help when you go out with the double birds, though.
That helps build into this, right?
Yeah.
Now you're kind of cultivating a little bit of a reputation for yourself, but it was pretty isolated. That
Yes.
was oh man, Branch is really fiery. And then now, this season, it's not just this, it's the helmet that he tossed. in the Green Bay game,
Yep.
right? And it's like that, but that wasn't a long time ago. And this is like extracurricular stuff.
Yep.
Um, all that being said, free BB till it's backwards. And the other point I want to make is that it's weird how like Patrick Mahomes wants to give advice on how to be a good sport, and I very, very distinctly remember him crying and whining to Josh Allen at midfield after that offensive offside penalty on Kadarius Toney, where then the Bills got the ball and they won that game, and that hot mic caught Mahomes saying like "effing unbelievable," offensive offsides, what a effing joke, kind of thing.
Uh,
Okay, I'm
Any,
saying that one guy
yeah.
gets away saying something on a hot mic and acting that way, but then being like, "Well, I just want to shake his hand. I just want to shake his hand," after I just spun the ball on his way and kind of flexed on him a little bit. And it's like BB doesn't have to shake your hand. And I don't know what Juju Smith Schuster must have said to elicit that reaction from Branch, but like I think that goes to Miko's point, where it's like I understand like the frustration in the
Yeah.
heat of that moment, where it's like
Yep.
I don't feel like we're like our safety is being equally respected
Right. Anyone
on
anyone
the
trying to
field.
play anyone trying to play moral high ground in this game of football where everyone is whining, everyone is complaining, everyone is being overly physical and skirting the lines of legality before, after, during the game. Um, Now, Branch, I think we can all agree, Branch's transgression was worse than anything else that we've mentioned from either team. Right? It was bad. It is worse than an overly aggressive block in the back. It is something that they can't allow in this football game. But I think the line that I won't cross, that I've seen some, and again, we're probably talking fringe Lions fans. Um, the whole, okay, we need to get rid of Branch. This is it.
Oh, what?
He's
No.
a
Oh,
hothead. He's a hothead. This doesn't fit our culture. He's punished. He's hurting the team more than he's helping the team. Like that is where you have to realize this is a 23-year-old kid still finding his way in the world, still finding his way in the NFL, still only in his third NFL season. There are going to be growing pains, and listen, he needs to calm it down. No one is going to sit here and say what he's doing is acceptable. He hurt the team during the game, and now he's hurting the team after the game. It's not okay. This is we just got done in the break talking about how big this Buccaneers game is, and if he doesn't win his appeal, he's not going to play in it. And given that given that Kirby Joseph can barely walk in between treatments, there's a very real chance the Lions are going to not only be without both starting corners, but both starting safeties against Baker Mayfield, an MVP candidate right now.
and might be down their backup nickel cornerback slash backup safety to those guys in Avante
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You hurt the team. And I don't know. I don't think he's going to win the appeal. We'll see. For people curious about the timeline, generally these things go very quickly. So we should know this isn't like he's going to appeal, so he'll play this week, and then we'll just wait for the appeal to play. No, the appeal will be found out this week. We'll know whether he's going to play or not play this week. That's how like on-field conduct appeals work. It's different than off-field appeals.
It feels Miko like a red challenge flag on an instant replay where you're like, oh man, they made that decision too quickly. So like
Yeah.
it's like they already gave him the one game. It took how long? They announced it at what time? Like
Less than 24 hours. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
it's
the appeal to Jeremy's point is going to happen so fast, and it's just like, well, if you ruled one game that quickly,
Yeah.
yeah, like there's no way you can rescind one game, I think. To Jeremy's point, like I would be shocked if it was appealed, right? Like
if it was
the
upheld, you mean?
only
Yeah,
I'm sorry, yeah. Well, if it was overturned, sorry.
yeah.
I would be shocked. Yeah, I'd be shocked if it was upheld because like the only argument that I could have is like it wasn't like a full blown fight. Like it wasn't Andre Johnson like
Oh, yeah,
going to
Cortland
town.
was it Cortland Finnegan?
Yeah, and Cortland Finnegan in the middle, or AJ Green two-piecing Jalen Ramsey like in the middle of a game. But it to the point of it is a punch, and it is after the game, and it did like, and it was seen nationally. Like, yeah, there's going to probably be that extra, you know, bit of punishment that's levied on top of it. But I do think anyone that's jumping to the conclusion that like, hey, Brian Branch is a hothead, we're talking about a guy that's played 37 games in his short career, And the best we can come up with is three instances. Granted, two of them are fairly close together, but we're talking about three instances in a 37 game career. Like I feel like we need a larger sample size. And I feel like we've had much more egregious examples of players, Jeremy and Ryan, in the past that have played for the Lions where you're like, yeah, that dude just is always gonna habitually line step.
Yeah. But but Branch does need to turn it around, right? He needs to have a long, hard conversation with somebody in that building, and there aren't more people I trust more than someone like Dan Campbell to be like, hey, whatever you're going through, let's talk it through. Let's get through it because you're hurting yourself, you're hurting the team, and I want you here. I love Brian Branch, but what he does is what he did here was inexcusable. I do think there's and honestly, like maybe the most encouraging thing I heard, and not personally heard because I wasn't there, but there was a 10-year veteran who's like, I'm going to take him aside and I'm going to talk with him. I'm not going to do it right now because I'm sure he's heated and it's in the moment, but I want to make sure I pull him aside and talk to him. You guys know who it was?
Alex Anzalone.
DJ Reader.
Wait.
It was DJ Reader.
Yeah.
And that's what this team needs sometimes, because this team doesn't veer off into this dysfunctional, whatever you want to call it, direction, Eagles direction very often, right? I don't think they handled this loss particularly well, but that is not emblematic of who this team is. Dan Campbell's always said he wants a team that is able to course correct on its own. He wants a team that he doesn't have to babysit. And so having a guy like DJ Reader, I think, is going to be very valuable in this moment. And I sure hope Ryan Branch learns his lesson from this, because I can only speak to my personal experience, but I'm still learning lessons in life at damn near 40. I sure hope Brian Branch is opening to learning lessons at 23. And I think, and I hope Lions fans that are upset at him right now and want him gone or don't want him to sign an extension, maybe give him a little bit grace over what has been a tough year and a half for him.
Yeah, and he's not spitting on people, Meko. So like,
He's not spitting on people. He's not stumping on people at the bottom of piles. He's not finding ways of
Jeremy
he's
opened
not
up
finding
Stompgate
ways
last
to
night.
he's not finding ways of cartwheeling people in the groin. Like, I'm just, there's a certain defensive tackle. Yeah, I was saying there's a certain defensive tackle here that found creative ways of attacking people on the football field in unsportsmanlike ways. But like, there is, like, Jeremy, you mentioned it as well. I think one of the things that does give me so much encouragement with Brian Branch going forward is how he responds in the locker room after that situation. Like, I don't mean to make light of it, but it was kind of funny, like watching his interaction with Dave Burkett as he's kind of like asking him questions about what happened. It's very much like a dad asking a kid that he just went to go pick up from preschool. Like,
Yeah.
So and so just hit, like, he just hit this other kid, and you're trying to ask him questions to figure out what happened. And Brian Branch is like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That was childish. Well, what happened? Well, he did this. Okay, and he did that, and then what? Like, it's playing out in this way where you can tell, like, it's not someone who's trying to take this moral high ground of like, I was in the right. It's very much of a person that's like, yeah, I was wrong, right? But there is a feeling where, like you said, I think whether it's Dan, Kelvin Shepard, somebody sitting down with him and understanding, like, where do you feel like you are not being protected out there so that we can address it with the league in some sort of way. Not that, like, again, who knows what'll come of that, but
yeah. At least he'll feel like he's being heard, though, right? Because I think maybe that's part of the frustration with him is he's out there, putting his body on the line, and no one is hearing his frustrations. No one's seeing the punishment he's going through. I think it was very, I don't know if mature is the right word given the entire circumstance here, but revealing for him to just say, like, I feel like I'm being bullied out there. How many NFL players are willing to admit something like that?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that word alone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because, like, and I don't think he means it in the sense of like, oh, guys are being physical with me. Like, it is the extent of the play that we're talking about with him and Juju, where it's like I'm getting blocked in the back and no one's calling anything. Maybe it's other things that we know that we've heard happen in NFL scrums and things like that, where you're just like, you're hoping that officials will take more notice of it. And it's not like this is new, guys. Like, in regards to, like, NFL officiating favoring offensive players more than defensive players when it comes down to protecting them. So
Yeah.
I don't think this should catch anybody off guard with a defensive player saying like, "Hey, I feel like I'm being bullied out here and like no one's taking notice."
So what we're trying to say is Brian Branch is the victim here.
Well, what I'm essentially saying is don't start and there won't be none. And then,
Not wrong. Um, do we want to talk a little bit about Tampa ahead, or do we want to just call it there?
Well, I mean, can I ask you guys the question? Like,
Hmm.
what's the one thing you want to learn about this football team next week?
Hmm.
I
I
want to
think,
know that I
yeah, go ahead, Pico.
I was gonna say I think I want to be able to continue to see that this team can bounce back from tough losses, right? Like that you can continue to execute at a high level when you're coming off a week where you didn't. And so like that's something that you have to be able to show that you can course correct in a week.
That's a good
Yeah,
one. Do you have one, Jeremy?
I mean, this team is going to continually win with its offense, so I need to see a bounce back game there. I'd like to see them get back to running the ball better. We saw flashes of it in that game. I was a little disappointed by how they performed against the Bengals in that facet 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure what Tampa. I haven't looked too far ahead with Tampa and to know how well they're defending the run. Looking at some quick DVOA numbers, 6 against the run. Is that right? That's not great. Um, but anyways, I would like to see them just get back to some offensive identity, make it work. They're 20th against the pass, so maybe that's the better route this week. But it just feels like there's been one thing off there, one thing off here with the offense, and even the game where they just destroyed the Bears, there was even plays where you're like, yeah, but they should have hung more than 50 on them. They should have hung 60 on them. I'd like to see a fuller game from their offense in general, and it's not going to be easy. The Bucks are generally a difficult defense, and they've given some troubles offensively in the past. But this is a good football team. They need to assert their dominance even on good defenses.
I think the thing I want to know about this team after this game is what it looks like with Lee McNeil. I really
Yeah,
do. And if you look at the string of injuries that the Buccaneers have sustained along their offensive line, uh, I always forget how to pronounce his name, but Cody, is it Mock
Mock.
or Mout? Yeah. Um, the interior offensive lineman. He was placed on injured reserve. He's out for the season. Luke Gedeke out for the season. Like the offensive line is banged up. The, I mean, the wide receiver corps. I mean, they're incredibly
Mhm.
banged up. Mike Evans, Igbuka, like all those guys.
Godwin.
Chris Godwin still.
Yeah.
Um,
I think there's a
who's
small chance
left?
Evans comes back, but they got that rookie who thought the MVP chance were for him. I forgot that guy's name.
They do, they do, and I mean, no Bucky Irving, so they're going to
Yep.
be down their top running back. Like this should be a game where I totally understand, and I would like to see that too, Jeremy. I'd like to see the offense really have a game where they maybe hang 40 plus on a good football team. But I kind of want to see their defense like rise to the occasion like it did last year.
Yep.
Towards the end
Yep.
of the season, I mean, it was just inverse, right? Like the front seven was just Frankenstein together, Frankenstein monster together.
Thank you.
Whereas, now it's the secondary. So like now it's on Townsend and now it's on Shepard. It's on those guys to put together a game plan where they could win a football game and make it complimentary. So I want to see what a Lee McNeil does to that. It'll give me hope coming out of the bye.
That'd be a lot of hope coming out of the bye, especially with, I mean, again, I think we talked about it during the break. Technically, Marcus Davenport should be eligible to come back. And then I think after the bye, DJ Reed should be eligible to come back, or maybe one more game
I think,
after the bye.
I think one more after the bye, but I'm not entirely sure. I think after Minnesota.
But soon, I mean, look at all the reinforcements, man. Look at all the reinforcements.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I think this loss should like hurt to a certain degree. Like again, no one wants to lose, so it's like okay, that kind of sucks. But at the end of the day, like kind of like what we talked about in the first segment, there's no reason to like panic at this point in time. Like the Lions are still playoff hopes are still very strong, very much alive. You have an opportunity, again, in a bounce back situation to prove that you can still contend with some of the best teams in the NFL, specifically one of the best teams in the NFC, and get right back in the mix of having that top spot um, in the conference. So, yeah, guys, any other big takeaways? Anything else that we need to kind of make the people aware of for the rest of this week? It should be a normal week, right? In terms of
Nope.
like POD stuff.
Nope.
Nope. All
We're,
right, I lied.
we're moving the midweek mailbag back a day because like now we're operating on a Monday night football game schedule, and so the media schedule is a little upside down. So midweek mailbag's going to get recorded on Wednesday, uploaded on Thursday. I'm not sure if that's going to affect Before the Roar. Probably
Yeah.
not. Maybe.
It will. Yeah, because so what we'll do is Before the Roar will be out on Friday then. So
There you go.
look, you guys have stuff to listen to on the weekend, and things like that. So yeah, recorded on Wednesday, dropped on Friday. So you'll have enough podcasts as well as you can catch Before the Roar over on the Pride of Detroit YouTube channel as well at youtube.com/Pride of Detroit. So
And first bite at some point.
First bite that either Friday or Saturday. We'll drop that for Pride of Detroit direct subscribers. Reaching out, hoping I can get a common Bucks guest, but you'll just have to wait and find out.
all right, guys. Well, that's pretty much going to do it for this week's episode of the POD cast. Like always, guys, if you are looking for any more additional Lions content, you can always check out prideofdetroit.com. We have new articles going up every single day. And if you are listening to this on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure to leave us a review, a comment. We appreciate the feedback. And if you want to also find this podcast in video form, you can always do that over at the YouTube channel, or you can go over to twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit as well and be able to watch the entire live stream. The only difference between Twitch and YouTube is YouTube will have chapters. So if you want to skip the break, you can do that. If you don't want to skip the break, you want to watch everything, pick either platform. It literally, you'll have everything there. So with all that said, I'm Meko. He's Jeremy. He's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch and listen. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Recording stopped.
You're a Red Wings believer now? Two wins in a row?
81 and 1, baby. Dude, they looked atrocious today. They were awful.
I didn't watch
They
any.
were so bad. They were so bad, and they won somehow.
I saw that they were like quickly down 11-2 shots or something like that. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, Cam Talbot looked like, I turned it on and I was like, oh, it's Dominic Hasek in net. Dominic Hasek is in net. He was making the most insane saves. It was so bad. They were so bad. Did you see the game-winning goal?
Nope, I haven't seen anything.
Oh my goodness. Like I'd never seen such a tilted ice in my lifetime. It felt like the Wings were slow and the Maple Leafs were fast and they had chances and the Red Wings were just begging to get the puck out of their own end. I was like, wow, this is a bad hockey team. And then with less than a minute left, puck squeaks out, slap shot, top shelf.
Wow.
Just on an off chance, right spot, right time.
So it wasn't even just like they were dominating, the Wings get one odd man break and score. Because I feel like that's usually the way a team that gets dominated wins. It wasn't even that.
No, it was pure luck and determination by the Wings goalie. Like everything else was bad.
Nice.
But
Jeff
2-1,
So
baby.
I was gonna say, is the season officially started?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
3 games in.
Oh, okay.
So today, apparently, we should wish John happy Canadian Thanksgiving.
I thought it was yesterday.
All that hockey was on today at noon. And I was like,
Yeah.
why are they playing hockey at
Because
noon?
it's a national holiday here.
Yeah, I mean, schools aren't out, so it's
Oh, it is
not a
today. All right,
national.
I'm wrong.
Wait,
It's-
what holiday is today?
It's Indigenous Peoples Day.
Ah, okay.
So it's
That's
like a
why I
federal holiday. It's a federal holiday, but if schools don't have it off, it doesn't seem like a real holiday to me. So
Yeah.
when the NBA does Martin Luther King Jr. Day and they play basketball on Monday starting at noon, I'm like, yeah, everybody's got it off. That makes sense. The
Yeah.
NHL had hockey on at noon on a day where kids aren't out of school.
Yeah.
What's the point? Sorry. I think that was an
That's
anti-Canadian
a-
rant.
I mean, I get it. I don't know. I hate
There's more
national
North
holidays where
America
I don't get
teams.
off work.
Yes, that's it, Miko. That's what I'm actually upset about. But also the hockey schedule started on Wednesday, Tuesday. It was like Tuesday,
Oh yeah,
Wednesday,
yeah.
Thursday, and then they had no games on Friday.
Yeah.
Zero. They played zero hockey games on Friday and loaded everything up on Saturday to go against college
Smart.
football.
Yeah.
Smart.
And then they had one game on Sunday. Do you know what it was? During Sunday night football. The Capitals and the Rangers played each other last night. Why? What a stupid sport. Go Wings.
Have
Speaking
seen
of
some.
Saturday, my daughter went to homecoming for the first time, so
Ooh.
I got to live through that.
Did you do everything? Did you do parade?
Nah, nah.
No.
She just
Do they do
nah,
a parade or no?
I don't know. I know I should have asked her. She's in like student government at her school, so like she had to do a
Like the
lot in
planning?
terms of like
Yeah.
yeah, like planning, setting up, decorating. That kid, the fact that she was willing to get up at 7 in the morning, go decorate for homecoming, and then still go to homecoming, like you're a different breed.
Yep.
Did you give a boy a speech? Like intimidate him
No.
in the doorway?
It wasn't Bad
No.
Boys.
No, fortunately, like there was no boy. There had yet to be a boy.
Okay.
I don't know if
Okay.
my daughter is just has like told every boy like no, or has like put out just put out a notice like, hey, my dad is not. So, but like I did have like
Is
one moment where
not.
she, it's just like not worth meeting. But like she did come home and she was like telling me something, and like like how you're like half listening, but then like one word piques your interest and you're like, wait, what? She was
Yeah.
like, she was telling me about somebody requesting a song, and I don't even remember what the song was. I don't remember what was happening. All I heard was the name Matthew, and I was like, Matthew who? But then like whatever the song was, I was like, oh wait, no, that's not something to be concerned about. Whatever song he requested, I was
Was
like, he's fine.
when was this?
She told me about this on Sunday.
I was gonna say, so you were just on high alert. So like that's why even something like that set you off.
No, I was actually like surprisingly chill. Like I think every
Good.
dad who has girls like thinks they're gonna be like super wound up. I will say two things made it super easy for me. The first one being that the high school that my daughter goes to, they have a separate building for ninth grade. So like
That's
ninth
clutch.
grade has their own building and they had their own homecoming that was at a different time than
Oh,
everyone else's homecoming.
interesting.
So like
Oh,
so that took a huge weight off of like, okay, I no longer have to be worried about something crazy happening.
yep,
And then
yep.
I have probably been blessed with the most modest child on the planet because
That's
like
good.
her and her mom and everything went out and picked dresses. Picked the dress, saw the dress, and I was like, awesome. Saw the makeup and like she wore, I think she wore some Nike Dunks, like
That's comfortable,
low
sensible.
top.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome. Not worried in the least bit. Now, if something crazy did happen, if my daughter came home crying, you guys would have saw me on the news. Like that's
You would have had
things would have went
Roger
left
Goodell
really
knocking
quick.
down your door for a suspension.
You would-
I would have been
Uh,
taking blame for Brian Branch's actions, but like, you know what? Maybe I put something in the air.
there's enough people in chat that are saying, "Did you wear a Bucky's onesie to meet Matthew?" We've established that Matthew's not real. And then it says with tail
Uh,
and without ass.
I mean, no one said I had to wear this with anything underneath it. So, you know.
Oh man.
We got a tail on the front and the back.
Okay, all right. Time to wrap it up. Going to bed. I'm going to bed. I'm going home and going to bed.
Oh, sorry. Not that obvious. Thank you for the 26 months. 845 INC Network. Thank you for following on Twitch.
Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna be putting this on a lot.
This was an interesting one, chat.
Yeah, HSW is right. You are getting fined for that, Jeremy.
Yeah, probably.
I'm just going to read the Runyon statement Also, I know ChatGPT when I see it, by the way, Runyon.
You think so?
Your statement.
How should I sound tough but fair?
Help me sound firm but fair.
You might want to start including into that. Do not keep into account that I also have a shady past as well.
What is this Texans stuff?
At the very least, like, there was a thesaurus.com was open on his tabs.
Oh yeah, Microsoft Word doc, right click, show synonyms.
All right. I think we are going to get out of here. There's some football to be watched. Falcons are winning, huh? Beating the Bills?
14-7.
Interesting.
Frauds.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Collapses upon us.
We'll be live Wednesday morning for the midweek mailbag. And then next time we'll be live after that is Mensim, which is probably going to be Sunday morning. Yeah, probably going to be Sunday morning. Jeff, what did you ask? Ask it again, real quick. It's 21-7 now? Dang.
Dang. Who scored?
Are the Atlanta Falcons for real?
Bijan Robinson, 81-yard touchdown.
Oh, boy.
Isn't this the team that gave up a 28-point lead to another team in the Super Bowl or something like that?
That was like 8 years ago.
Hey, people won't let Detroit live down some of their past mistakes. I'm not letting the Falcons off the hook.
Yeah, you guys are lucky I let Amon-Ra off the hook, and not you guys personally, but I was ready to come on here and be like, let's keep the same energy that we keep for JMO's mistakes that we do for Amon-Ra's.
It depends who you ask about the JMO mistakes.
It does.
It seems like every game the offense goes cold for anywhere between 2 and 4 series. Is that on Morton or some other factor, and is it concerning? I don't know.
Oh, was that on YouTube?
Yeah.
What was the question again? About the stalled offense?
Feels like the offense goes cold 2 to 4 series a game. Is that Morton another factor concerning? I think the offensive line is not playing great right now. Like, not terribly, but not great, to the point where I just feel like the run game is inconsistent, and that hurts. I also think there are very few games in which teams don't have like at least 2 bad drives on offense, right? Like, the Chiefs had a couple bad drives last night. It happens.
Yeah, wasn't it under Ben Johnson? They also had that. What was it, like the third quarter? The third quarter.
The third quarter, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know.
Something that I think just kind of rears its ugly head on this team every so often.
I think too, like their defense just didn't do any, like the defense really didn't do any favors.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like over the past 4 weeks, the defense has done favors.
Yeah.
Goal line stop against the Ravens, turnovers in the other games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not overly concerned about it now, especially since we're dealing still with pretty small sample sizes. And if we're complaining about this, it's probably still not true, but remember that the Lions are like one of the best offenses in the league, right? That's still a thing. They're probably not the highest scoring one anymore, but
probably not. But I will say that an overwhelming majority of the money was on the over as well. Game ended at 47. The undercashed.
The one thing I thought I knew.
The one thing I thought I knew, I only got one of them. I said there were going to be 3 defensive pass interference penalties.
Yeah. All right.
I wanted to about the penalties.
You and your
gambling
tinfoil hats.
Oh man.
By the way, the tinfoil hatting worked on PrideDetroit.com.
Oh, I know it did, baby. Puppets.
Wow. You see what he thinks of you guys, chat?
I respect like almost all of you. Meko, what's in the bag?
Some Marilyn Monroe, baby.
Ooh. Could you like
Go get
get
you some.
that for a discount?
Something like POD 15 or something like that can kind of help you out.
I wonder if you do like
That's a,
exclamation point jerky in the chat, what that does.
No, our Nightbot isn't working anymore for some reason.
What the heck, man?
Yeah.
Bezos.
All right, we're getting out of here. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys Wednesday morning for the mailbag. Peace out.
My awesome man that says one thing I think I know is Jeremy doesn't know what I think I know.